YouTube.
Thank you so much for joining in and tuning in. As you can tell, we are pumped. We are excited to be here today. My name is Delali Rasa. I'm the founder of Fearless. Fearless Sports, we're a streetwear brand, and we're so much more than clothes, right? It is about a movement committed to amplifying the fearlessness of everyday people to make extraordinary impact. Just like our Fearless Five, which you're going to meet here in a couple minutes, our impact ambassadors are all about
Thank you so much for joining in and tuning in.
Just getting it done all over the place. So we want to thank you so much for being here today. And so let me tell you a little bit about Fearless. Right? Fearless Sports. Our mission, right, is to ignite, equip, and uniform the impactful. And that's all that we're talking about tonight. We created this company. I remember calling Dion and said, Dion, starting an apparel company, starting a clothing line. And she's like, okay. And if you know Dion, her next question was, so what's the big deal? So what? And really wanted to drill into why does this matter? And how do we ensure that what we're doing is impactful and is going to be something that helps the people of Baltimore. And so, we got in the room and started whiteboard, and she's like, what about this? What about that? And before you know it, the vision was really crafted and created. And we think about how we want to impact the world. It's not just about looking at your athletes and your entertainers and typically what you would see in apparel and fashion brands, but how do we elevate and continue to push forward these impact leaders that are doing such amazing work? And you're going to hear from today. Their stories are incredible. These are amazing people. And I'm just fulfilled with love and energy about what they're bringing and what they're doing in communities. But our hope is not just that you sit back and you clap and you celebrate, and we want you to do that. But we want you to realize that you too, right? Just like them, as you learn more about their stories, you too realize that you have everything in you to make the same kind of impact and change within your communities. When they jump on camera in a couple of minutes, you will see them in the new Fearless BLM t-shirt. And it talks about Black lives not just matter, but they build, they create, they achieve, they inspire. And that vision and that line really came about, during the height of the George Floyd movement, what was happening across the country and all the social justice conversations. And we're talking a lot about Black Lives Matter. And we took a step back and said, well, wait a minute, why is that all we're talking about? Of course, these lives matter, but they do so much more than that. They do so much more. And we add so much value to society and so much to the world in general. We build, we create, we achieve, we inspire so many. And so we wanted to pay homage to that. And so we are releasing that collection today. And so you'll be able to get that after this. There'll be some giveaways that Dan will talk about. But I'm going to shut up. And I had the privilege of introducing my dear friend and sister, my partner in crime. I love her to death. She gets on my nerves, all that good stuff. This is my sister, true to the truest sense. But Dion is the person that you call when you've got an idea, you want to sprinkle some magic on it and let it blow up. And so Dion is the person that really charged us to make sure that we're doing this for the people, and charged us to make sure that this was going to be impactful and this is going to be meaningful and that lives are going to be changed as a result. And so there's no one else that I would rather be sitting with today. I love you dearly, Dion, and I'm excited. I'm going to shut up in a minute, but thank you so much for agreeing to be a part to bring this vision to life. This would not be happening without you. So hearts out to you and your family for your support and your love. But with that, I'm going to shut up, hand over the mic, and I'll let you guys get to hearing all of the amazing folks that are going to be sharing a piece of their lives with you today. So take care.
I cannot believe that Delali just did that. So now I'm trying to hold back tears. We just finished, the group had a prayer before we started, and I let it be known that this is so fucking important. This means so much. I'll introduce myself again. My name is Dion Joyner Weems. It's like a Tribe Called Quest. You gotta say it all together. Yes, it's gonna be that kind of evening. Tonight, our goal is to inspire you as much as these fearless change agents have inspired all of us. And it's not too late. If you haven't already, take a look in the chat. We're dropping a link for you to subscribe, right? We're building an army together. Subscribe to Fearless Sports. And if you do that tonight, 5 people will be selected to win some Fearless Sports dope gear. You're welcome. What's really great about tonight is that we are talking to everyday people that are doing extraordinary work. And our Fearless 5, that's who they are. Tonight, we really want you to take a look and listen to their stories. Please don't leave us, because not just do we want you to engage in the chat, like we're expecting some back and forth Q&A, but also we want you to stick around, because later we're going to unveil the becomefearless.com. And that site really is, it's like a virtual safe space for you to find out, you know, the stories of leadership, the stories of sacrifice, the stories of inspiration. How do these people do what they do? Why do they do what they do? And how can we do it too? So we ask for you to sit back, relax, open your heart, and take a listen to our fearless sports heroes.
Although some may think that they don't get it, they totally understand. When we first went into a virtual space, we wanted to, as an educational system, try to address the academic gap, the disparity gap of learning and retention and retaining learnings and certain skills. But our young people prior to that were saying, y'all got to keep an eye out on social, emotional well-being. No one asked me how I was doing. So when everything forced us all to lose human connection, the young people said, enough with you trying to ask me how to excel as a student. Ask me, how am I okay? What got me here? Why am I still here? What keeps me engaged? And it wasn't until the rest of the world and the rest of the adults that are around and engaging with our young people had to face themselves that they faced the reality that the young person was in. And it caused us to shift priorities and say, you know what, your wholeness matters before your grades.
I cannot view myself as anybody else's perceptions of me. I have to have a solid vision of who I am and do my best to manifest more and more of that. And as soon as I get to my highest vision of that, something in me goes, and what else? Because if I'm not here for that, because I'm very clear, I don't want to do human anymore if I got to come back. I can be the wind the next time. I can be vibration. I can be tornadoes. I don't know. I can be something else. I don't want to have to come back in human form. My highest, wildest visions of myself are my personal why. And so I think it's one of the reasons that a lot of pain and trauma get called into my experience, because I'm here to overcome. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to be as magnificent as I can possibly be. How magnificent are you if you never really been through shit?
But the goal is the goal. I'm gonna continue to work. If you don't have anything to do but talk about me and bash me, that means that you ain't got nothing going on. So I'm gonna keep moving forward. If you make incremental change, small steps over time, people will shut up. How you gonna argue progress? How you gonna argue these metrics? And I tell people, if you're doing, do the work, do the work. Just focus on doing the work, and along the way, you will wind up gathering small allies who will vouch for you, and then they kind of silence all the outsiders.
We feel
it's better to kind of lean on coping mechanisms, especially with regard to mental health. It's better to go to the bottle. It's better to go to the drugs. It's better to do those things. But sometimes we have to kind of systematically push those things out of the way so that we can reach our greatness personally and, again, as a culture. So that means venting to our tribe. That means potentially seeking therapy. So hold on to the resilience, have the strength, but understand that there's also strength in sometimes realizing, you know what, I'm not going to be able to do this by myself. I'm going to need a little bit of help. That's okay too.
I need more people to not mentor me, but to really sponsor the work that I'm doing, that want to have conversations on building, but then make the connections, and then also just like be a sounding board of making sure that we get to the next level, which is thriving and sustainability. In order to do that, of course, we need money, but we really need the networks to do it. And oftentimes we don't have it. And just having people from their own platforms speak on what we do, advocate for the work that we do, and have that empathy where even if you do not understand why B360 works, that's okay. Just acknowledge that it does and then learn for your own, but not take away from it or any other black-led org of the power that we're doing on the ground every day, because we don't need validation. We already need the results. We just need help with the results that we already get.
And with that, really excited to introduce you to Fearless Sports. Ambassadors are heroes. Rashad Staton is the Youth Engagement Specialist, Baltimore City Public Schools, and founder of Catalyst of Change, LLC. Brittany Young, founder and CEO of B360. Sananda Edwards is co-founder and director of community engagement for Above It All. Erica Bridgeford, co-founder of Baltimore Ceasefire, executive director of Baltimore Community Mediation. Jonathan Moore, founder and CEO of Rowdy Orbit. How did y'all feel about that? You got my heart racing, and I wanna start it off this way. Erica, not to put you on the spot, but I'm about to. I have had the opportunity to sit down with each one of you. And when you made the statement about, you know, can you really be magnificent if you haven't gone through shit? And another way to say that is the benefit of lived experience. Lived experience can change the world from the street corner to the White House. What is it that we are missing by not leveraging the lived experience of impact leaders like yourself? Erica?
I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday about murder in Baltimore and how we just had to live long enough to learn some things, to gain. So wisdom comes with actual experience. Knowledge you get in books. Knowledge is what somebody else gives you and tells you is true. But wisdom comes from your own experience. Is I went through something, I experienced something, and it put the fire in me to do the things that I'm doing in the way that I'm doing them. And so you miss out on that if you don't harness people's real lived experience, if you don't honor that they know what they're talking about because they have experienced it. Times when I've doubted myself, like, well, who am I to be an inspirational speaker or to be a leader? My mother said to me, baby, when you go through some things, it changes the tone of your voice and people can feel it, people know it, people get inspired by it because they recognize that fire in themselves because of things that you have gone through. And you can't make that up. You can't teach that to somebody. Either you have it because you've been through it or you don't.
This is true. Brittany, again, just thinking about, I've met your riders, and God, you just want to hug them. You just want to bring them in. Can you talk to me about how you've seen how people miss out on the jewels that you get to pick up from the students and the youth that you touch?
I want to say people miss out. People can't get past what they fear, which is their problem and their fault. And that's one of the big things that we talk about with our riders and our students is, you know, it's a gift for people to receive you and for people to know you. And if you don't that's their problem. But from my side, it's an equal pleasure. Kind of like what Erica was saying, I have a lot of book knowledge, but I also just learn every day and a lot of wisdom. And I think too, people don't take the value that like brothers or kids or youth have. They've been through a lot of experiences. They've met a lot of people. They know a lot of things. And so it's also a gift that I just have that time to spend with them because I've learned a lot from them.
And I'm going to let the crew know. We can jump in, just letting you know, I spoke to the heroes beforehand. We are all very passionate people and there's limited time in this show and we could all take it over. So I can tell that everybody is trying to be careful and I appreciate that. But also we're family, so jump in there. Jonathan, I'm going to again, I've met the people that you touch, the people on your team, and I'm like, man, so many more people need to know about them. What do you say to the lived experience?
Well, it's individuals do not value the origin of the conversation and the person that's delivering it because sometimes of their own biases. And it's a shame because there are a lot of hidden gems all over Baltimore City and all in the neighborhoods that we reside in, but we only call on them in crisis. And we never see them as an asset that they can deliver to the overall welfare and the betterment of the city unless their ROI is meant for a deficit narrative. And I think that's a detriment, and I think that a lot of us and the people that I admire here and the people that do work, like a Juan Nance with Legendary Cafe,
right?
They see the value and the good in people that other people have completely cast aside and cast away. And we need to start thinking about the people that we serve as a disposable community and disposable human beings. Because then when you do that, it's just it's we have the numbers that we have and we have the disparities that we have because you don't value human life that doesn't come from your social economic background.
So the truth will set you free. And Rashad, let me tell you something. As a mother of 3, the way that you were talking about how children were experiencing virtual learning, but yet what was being told to them by teachers, can you talk to us more about what people are missing from the lived experience and making room for new voices?
Yeah, I truly believe in the mantra and the platform that we created at City Schools called Youth Up Next, right? Where we embody the opportunity of giving the young people the platform that they rightfully deserve, right? And I think true leadership is defined by not the followers that you develop, but those that are willing to become leaders themselves. And I think our young people, back to what Erica was saying, when we speak of wisdom, age doesn't equate to wisdom, like what she said, but it's lived experience. And our young people, despite it all, the social indicators, the barriers, the opportunities, the lack thereof, or the additional levels of accessibility that they have, that our young people in Baltimore is very progressive, outwardly thinking. And because our society is so problem oriented, that our young people live every day with a solution oriented mind. So if we are willing to relinquish our seat or to move over and make space for the young person, their views are often not tainted by society because they're still young, still have a sense of innocence that they can see a door in the crack hallway, right? That we should be willing to rebuild with them and give them that space to go and build ahead of us, because at a certain time, they are our future. So why not give them an early head start in building the future that they're going to live in? And oftentimes that's what I do. That's what I advocate for, that allowing our young people to have voice for themselves and for us to be willing as adult partners to support them, beside them, alongside of them, or behind them, but give them the space and give them the mic to speak for themselves, because often they're going to speak with truth. They're going to speak with truth, transparency, and they're going to speak from a solution-oriented mindset because they don't want to live through what generations before them have already endured.
That's true. Now, Sananda, when we were talking, I often say that Baltimore is grit and grace, but there is that space in the middle. The way that y'all talk about how you're fighting for and advocating for others, that takes a toll. I want to understand, how does the mental health factor into our leaders wanting to lead and not burning out, because it feels as though you're out there battling a lot. What do you say to that, Sananda, as far as how we show up as people that are trying to protect our youth in our city?
I think one of the main things that what you're saying brings to mind is the importance of self-care, obviously. The fact that mental health is now, it's becoming, slowly but surely becoming a big deal. It's not, mental health is no longer taking a backseat to anything anymore. It is climbing into the front seat, and self-care honestly has already kind of taken the steering wheel.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you talked about grit and grace. Baltimore City has always been known as a city that's so resilient that we can damn near bounce back from anything. Anything you come at us with, we are gonna bounce back from it. But I think that in addition to that, we have to get to a point where we're locking into others. We're locking into our tribes. We're not only hearing ourselves and hearing our own voice, but I think, as Rashad said, we are making the way for young people to have a voice. And then honestly, relying on our tribe to commit to having a voice also. We have to make sure that we're listening, that we're open, but that listening, that openness, that transparency, it has to be kind of, I'm gonna say, seasoned with empathy, with understanding, with caring. And when you can relate to a person, when you take the time to relate to a person, when you take the time to understand a person, that will put us in a place of true leadership. Because leadership is about relationships. I think one of the biggest, probably quick examples I can think about is Thor. And for some reason, I remember like in the movie, Thor was on Asgard and his father was like, come on, let's do this. And he was like, nah, I think I wanna go be around the humans. I'm gonna go and help them. And my hope in that thought is, what I want to do is I want to bring them up to where they belong. So that to me is our biggest focus, making sure that it's not just about us, but we are creating a pathway for our young people and those who we work with to have a positive voice to add to the resilience that we show on a regular basis.
It's so funny that you bring up Thor, because it's even when we say our fearless sports heroes, and I appreciate Brittany because we've had real conversations about understanding that we are all human beings that recognize that something needed to change. And all we did was stand up and say, all right, I'll do it. That it's that concern of when you start looking at people like you who are out there on the ground doing this every day, and you start believing that y'all are so superhuman that as far as providing support or providing space is not necessary. Am I making this up, or have you experienced it? I got the nods.
Listen. So it's a few things about it, right? So first of all, being in the public eye is not what people think it is. Becoming, popular or a celebrity in your town or whatever is not anything that people think that it is. And like this thing with, I've had to really listen to my friends when they keep saying to me, Erica, some people don't want anything from you other than to pull on your energy so that they can say they talk to Erica Bridgeford. Wow. Some people come to you in a negative way and try to get a reaction from you just so they can say they shit on Erica Bridgeford. They had an argument with Erica Bridgeford. Like some people, like their energy, that's all they wanted. They're a vampire of your energy. They just wanted to be able to say, so it's similar to like they just wanted to touch the hem of your garment, but they only knew how to do it in these toxic, negative, violent kind of ways. And even when people think that they're saying something, so people send a lot of love and support. And when people say, I'm praying for you, we pray for you every Sunday in church, I meditate about you, I believe it, I receive it. I hug people when they tell me that, like, I love it. And I know that it is the prayers and positive thoughts that people send me all the time that help push me forward on days when I feel like giving up. I'm aware of that. And at the very same time, there are some people sending hateful energy and jealous energy and why not me energy. And so I have to remember for my own self that I'm not at war or in a battle with any particular person. All of it is spiritual warfare. And anybody who's trying to be like me from a jealous standpoint, I pray for them and I ask that they see their own greatness when they look at me. You know, that they look at me and say, oh, well, if she can do it, then what is in me that I want to do? You know, like that you don't have to take it and throw it at me in a nasty way. But this thing about understanding that now that I'm in the public eye, I can't all willy-nilly give my opinion about vaccinations. And you know,
no, I'm saying, yeah.
Like, it's just stuff I can't do. I can't say, when I made one post saying, oh, what am I going to slay? What am I wear to slay in LA? But I couldn't say when I was going to be in LA and what I was going there for, because it was a personal family trip. And just me even saying that I was going, so many people came in my inbox to find out when I was going to be in LA. People who lived in LA or people who was in Baltimore. Like, and I don't need to spend time with y'all everywhere I go. Sometimes it's just me and my kids. And my daughter literally had to say, don't post while we here. No Instagram pictures, no fake. So I had to like post after we got back from LA, right? That's different for me. I'm used to just sharing my whole life. But now because of who I am to people, and you don't know what you are to people. I don't know when people say Erica Bridgeford, I don't know what they feel or what they think that means, but I know what I go through and that I'm still a person.
So let me ask, so Brittany, I stole this one from you. I remember sitting there doing the interview with you, and about every 3 minutes, I could see it in your face. I'm tired. I'm tired. And for me, it hurt because we can't afford for any of you to not be here. So I want to understand, how do we show up? What does support look like? Brittany, you hit on it at the end that, you know, people will mentor you till they can't mentor no more. But explain to us, how do we show up for our impact leaders? What does it look like?
Yeah. Well, I think first, removing grit from our vocabulary. I think that's also our problem in this space, is that we do always come out on top with little or nothing. And that's the problem. No one on this panel should be talking about how we work with little resources and have more impact, because then we keep going back into those cycles and those systems. And we're strong. Being strong is a curse that we have never broke from. So I would say just starting there, grit does not exist. We all have our ceilings. We all have our limitations. And without someone opening the door on the next side, I can't continue my work. And then second is, all of the data says the same thing. Black-led orgs need more money, get disinvested in the most, right? So money helps. And then also people just hearing, when I say I'm tired, that's what I mean. That means I'm a regular person. Everybody clocks out. They have 9 to 5s, 10 to 7s, whatever. I clock out too from B through 60, and I don't want to talk. I don't want nobody to talk to me, and I will turn off my phone. So, you know, just really respecting, like, being a human is a first grand start that I think people don't receive. You can email me, you can text me. That don't mean you're going to get a reply back right away. Just because I'm a human every day and I need my own time to decompress, get back into work, but also to walk away from it. So removing grit, putting money and resources behind us, but then also just remembering we're regular everyday people that need to turn off as well.
Real quick, Dion, I wanted to
please.
I just wanted to shout out Brittany for that. Like, this, it's so, that's so rare with regard to having time to kind of turn off sometimes. I even think, like, and another thing that Brittany just said is we have to be careful about our vocabulary. I know oftentimes, like, it's just in us to say stuff like, hey, you know, here's my number. Call me anytime, and you know what I mean? Like, it's in us to say things like that. But we really have to be careful even about the things that we say, because you will get a call when somebody 3 o'clock in the morning, they figuring things out and they want some insight. So yeah, I'm gonna go. She said, call me anytime. So let me go ahead and call her. So we got to be careful about
I don't say that. I don't.
Well, yeah, no, I don't do that either. 6:30, don't call me. Don't call me.
All right, so Sananda, you the only one at 3 o'clock in the morning. The rest of them are like, peace. I had never heard this term until speaking to you. 5, poverty pimping. Poverty pimping. Jonathan, what is that?
That's just when people are making money off of poor people. Strictly. That's it. No mission, no focus, no value, no impact, no, it's just out for self. And they're making money off of people being poor. I mean, look at the mass incarceration system. You know, certain neighborhoods are meant for people to go to jail, flat out. You know, that's poverty pimping. You know, you have some nonprofits. I'm not saying all of them, but you do have some nonprofits out there that just like making money off of poor people. That's poverty pimping. You know, it's sad and it's pathetic, but it happens. And it's gonna continue to happen. You know, I mean, I'm gonna let somebody else jump in because it's just like.
Rashad, you turned off you unmuted. You unmuted. Did you have something you want to add, sir?
Yeah, just listening to them all speak, it lights me up sometimes because it's a blessing to share space with others where you don't often have to be the mouthpiece or to speak on behalf of others, but to sit back and see like-minded people with like attainment that see the vision in the field just as much as you do. And I think we all spoke of the poverty pimping because we learned how to navigate it so much that it becomes a norm, right? And I think it's often exuded consciously and unconsciously through the nonprofit infrastructure, through philanthropy, through educational systems, through how funding is projected based off of data points. And to know that Black and brown people, we seldom have data that speaks of us in a positive light. So oftentimes we are working towards a disparity gap and or achievement gap, which negates the fact that we're aspirational people that already have a self-definition of success. So anytime someone comes to me and say, hey, I want to engage a young person in this and that, and I get down to the uniqueness of a young person that they want to share space with, and they just say, well, just give me a youth representative to sit at this table. That's exploitation, which shows up through poverty pimping because they need that youth who shows up as a token holder for them to get a certain funding stream, right? Or to show face, and then it becomes a minstrel show, right? So it's like, at what time do we learn when to reframe, when to redirect and recenter people for their approaches because they don't know that their lens is off? I think sometimes people think that they're doing a service and you're doing a disservice, right? Which is why most of my work is from a strength-based and an asset-based approach, because I already see the strength in that person. I already see their willingness to survive, but their yearn to wanting to thrive, right? So I agree with Brittany. I don't use grit. I don't use resiliency because resiliency and grit is a survival mode that we naturally have as a people. What happens when someone speaks life into you? What happens when someone gives you a key of aspiration? Can we imagine what that happens? What happens when we don't have to hit someone's indicators to get a minimum of $5,000 to operate our nonprofit? Wow. No, give me $250,000 because your ED or that person in that top tier part of that is already operating that off of that, and they're not doing the work on the ground. So I think most of the time, poverty pimping is being manifested in a sense of people not knowing their true intentions when engaging a community. Right. And I'll step back because what got me was that conversation around heroes. I learned that. I'm like Tasanda, just being one of the youngest on this panel, I had a yearning for wanting to be in the space because I wanted to show that we as young people was worthy of that space, that I overly extended myself until I got over and noticed that people were stealing my ideas. People were not giving credit. People were using my name to build up their platforms. And then when I go home, I have no food in my refrigerator. Or when I need to pay a bill, that same person that asked me to sit on their panel didn't write me an honorarium fee. And the only thing I had to show for it is to put a post on Instagram, but that's not bringing sustainability to my family or creating a source of income or for me to build assets to pass down to my son, which is legacy. So them exercising this unconscious poverty pimping is extracting my energy, stealing my intellectual property, and exerting my will to wanting to service the community. And that's often how we lose ourselves. I experienced burnout 3 times within the last 2 years, right? And seldom did anyone call and say, hey, Rashad, are you okay? But these people that is on my panel and a few others, other heroes know when to check on other heroes. Those that we're saving often don't see us in the light besides when we got on our cape. And oftentimes no one gives us the space to take our cape off. And I think that is the way that we save ourselves. And that's why I appreciate the work that each person on this panel is doing and those that are listening to us as well.
For anyone that's sitting back and they're listening to the conversation and they're latching on to the barriers that each of you have to maneuver. They're hearing the negativity that y'all have found a way to offset. But they feel, you know what, that's why I don't even do anything. Like, I mean, because look, this is what's happening. That's why I don't even stand up anymore. Like, so even with the fearless sports and talking about ordinary people doing extraordinary things, Erica, you've said it. The system is not broken. It is working exactly the way it's supposed to be working, right? So I Jonathan, I see you turn off your mic too. Like, I would love for you to speak to those that are on the sideline, and it's right. They can see the darkness. They can see the darkness, but they don't see that they are the light. What can we do?
I'm gonna let Jonathan go first, and then I'll.
Okay. No, I appreciate that, sis. You know, it's one, you got to believe in yourself. That's first and foremost. And you got to like who you are. Because when you're fighting and you're fighting like this, it's easy to take the negativity and enter a self-abusive relationship with yourself. It's so easy because it's the system, the way things are designed are meant to beat you down and to get you to quit and to get you to give up, just so somebody else can pick up the pieces, the market that you validated, and so they can go make money from it. And so what people should think about doing is, how do I get a small win? You know, a small win, and start getting small victories. You know, and I tell people, just get on first base. You know, you can have these big aspirational dreams, you know, but understand it's a snaky, windy road. There are a lot of spiders, there are vipers, and crocodiles, and I mean, you playing like the game Frogger, you know, and they want to get you, but you need a small win, because what that small win does, it gives you internal validation, it gives you some data, it gives you a narrative that you can support, you know, and it shows that you have some performance, how you're moving forward, you know, and you need that it gives you an adrenaline rush to give you that belief that I'm doing this. Not I can do it. Not I can do this. I am doing it.
Receive. Thank you, Erica. Go ahead.
I think too. I think it's important to really know your lane, right? Everybody is not meant to be in the spotlight. Like if the spotlight, if you really find yourself going, see, that's why while you're in that mindset, you shouldn't be a leader, right? You need to sit down somewhere and get your healing and figure out, what is my role that I don't feel so beat up and so hopeless around. My dad was a Black Panther, and he explains to me often, baby, don't be mad at the cheerleaders. Because, you know, we're often, when we're doing the work, we're like, people always got ideas and they just want to say something. What are they out here doing? And the truth is, if people are outdoing from empty vessels, if they're outdoing with toxic mindsets, if they're outdoing from an ego perspective, then they're actually working against the good work that's happening, right? And so if their role is really to just talk and give ideas, they need to stay talking, giving ideas. If their role and understanding that every role really is important. So the office administrator, nobody would know what was going on if the office administrator didn't send out emails and didn't order all of the office supplies and didn't, you know, like every role is really important. But I think a lot of times within the activism space, everybody's looking to be what looks like to them some celebrity or in the spotlight or being called a hero without understanding you are a hero because you said good morning to somebody, because you were the first person that recognized their existence that day. Right? Like there are all kinds of ways that we are heroes and speaking life and pouring light and love into one another. And so there is something that is calling on your heart to do that will not make you feel hopeless all the time. It will actually nurture you and feed you while you're doing that work. Yes, you'll get tired, but you'll know that you're nurtured and fed way more than you feel beat up on, because that's the thing you are called to do. So don't try to be the mouthpiece and be in the spotlight if that's really not what's for you to do.
Understood.
Sanada, hey, John, I just want to say one more thing on that. You know, when people see that happening and like, this is the system and it's like, this is why I quit. Yeah. It should motivate you. You become competitive. Like, I'm gonna kick its ass.
Amen.
Flat out, you know, because goes back to Rashad's point. If the youth and what Brittany are doing, if the youth can see the crack in the door, then we should help them wedge that damn thing open.
Correct.
And we should be the support, and we should take a step back, because not only do they have the stamina, the energy, they don't have the toxicity of being an adult.
That's a t-shirt, the toxicity of being an adult. Sanada, can you talk about getting to the nouns of who you are? You spoke to me about it. I'm not going to steal it. Talk to me. How do you do that? What does that mean?
Yeah, I just think that, and again, the everyone that's here today, like, it's so powerful being a part of this, because I'm sure that they have a firm understanding of what it is that helps them to tick. And they have a firm understanding of how to set parameters and how to set boundaries for themselves so that they can help other people excel. So what I always encourage people to do is to really have a full understanding of who you are. And the way you can have an understanding of who you are is by delving into the nouns of you, understanding the people, the places, and the things that give you life, the things that encourage you, the things that motivate you, the people that motivate you, understanding how we do have an impact on people in ways large and small. And the reality is everyone has some kind of impact on people, and understanding that impact is important. So again, it's about having, again, that thorough understanding of the people that add to your life, and the people that don't always negate the things that you do, negate your energy. Having an understanding of the places that you need to go to when you're feeling that burnout. I was watching Rashad and his traveling, and just how he was feeling his spirit and doing what he had to do to pour back into himself. The folks, again, on this panel, they do so much pouring into others that we have an understanding, I'm sure, that we have to pour into ourselves. And it's also, and in that, it's about understanding, again, those people, those places, those things, whether it's a movie, whether it's a book, whether it's just time spent, again, with your tribe, with the right people that are in your tribe, understanding your motivation, and then understanding what that ripple effect means when you take time to take care of yourself, what that ripple effect is with others. So definitely understanding the nouns of you helps you to help others, no question.
Rashad, I see your mic's off. What did you want to add?
Just listening to everyone, what came to mind with your initial question, for those that just to keep their head in the game of facing forward and wanting to continue a mission of I think one is understanding. I'm very big. Anyone that knows me, I'm big on language, right? I think the tongue can create curses and it can manifest whatever we put out in the universe. So when we think of like a hero, right, or someone that wants to be a leader, a hero is someone that saves others, right? So your vision had to be bigger than yourself, right? It cannot be some sense of narcissism where you out for self-gain, but more so of you're out to service others, right? And when servicing others, that doesn't always mean you get the recognition or the accolades. You may build the respectability and the honor, right? And the visibility and the value that others share and appreciate for you, but you have to be willing to know that you're not out for self-interest, but you're out for the interest of everyone else, because a hero saves others. Someone that saves themselves, you're just simply a survivor. But no one gets a hero pin for saving themselves. You get a hero pin for going out and servicing the community. So
did you like that, Erica? I know I'm go Rashad, that you spitting bars, sir. I love that one. I love that.
It's like Tupac. Sometimes you just gotta let the homie speak through you. Like, so what he said on the Kendrick album at that point.
So I want to take a pause here. For those of you who are watching, I'm going to say again, subscribe to Fearless Sports for, if only for one reason alone. It's to constantly have these type of conversations in your ear, just a little bit of wind beneath your wing, a little bit of motivation, inspiration to get up and do the work that you're doing. I want to take a moment now. Jean has been interacting in the chat and talking to folks. So panel, there is some questions that have come in. I'm going to go ahead and go to my thing here to see what questions we have. All right. All right. So while those are coming in, I want to ask y'all each, what is Fearless? Who wants to go first?
I'll go ahead and say it real quick. I think being fearless to me is having almost what I call this, like what I like to call it's like a visionary mindfulness. So it's like understanding that you might have to go through some stuff to get where you gotta go, but understanding that right now I might have to go through something that's pretty tough, but I have a goal in mind. It doesn't mean that some of those things aren't going to scare you. It's okay to be scared every now and again, but it's not holding on to it in a way that eats away at your core, eats away at your energy, and again, eats away at your motivation to achieve your goal. So I think more than anything, it's about accepting that, yeah, it gets scary sometimes, right? But pressing on, pushing on, and ensuring that you are able to reach your goals again, whether it's with your own strength or again, tapping into the strength of your tribe.
I'm gonna pause you. Question came in. What does it take to stay motivated? So, I mean, we're talking about what we're giving to others to get them up, but for you, what is it that it takes to stay motivated? Jonathan, I see your mic.
I need a small win. You know, that's all I need. Just something that validates what I'm doing, and I get it from the team, and I get it quite often. And so it pushes me to keep moving forward and just like, you know what the hell? I'm still going for it. You know, okay, I'm gonna get beat up, I'm gonna get trashed, they're gonna talk about me, whatever. But when I look at my team, they doing it. And they're making huge stride marks, and I'm seeing them change. And I'm hearing the evolution in the conversation, and I'm seeing things that other people don't see that motivates me, because I'm a servant leader and I do this for others. Amen. Flat out. And so Brittany, doing it for others, they pour into me.
Brittany, what do you do to stay motivated?
I had to change, my thinking, but also remember where I get my validation from. I don't get my validation from awards or accolades and that kind of stuff. I get it from like the people that I work with every day. So I can be dead ass tired every fucking day. And then I'll get a phone call from like one of our kids, that's talking about what we've done together and just seeing their smiling faces. So for me, why I still do this work is because I love it. I started because I hated a lot of stuff and I was mad, but now I burn from that love part of it. No matter how tired I get refilled by what I've built and then what I see happening every day. And so for me, it's always going back to that validation. It's not the money, it's not the awards, it's just the people that I'm working with. And it's the people that pour into me because they love me just as much too.
Erica, what keeps you motivated?
So all of the things that people said, and what I want to add is, so cussing coming, it wasn't me, but people did it. So one of my favorite things is like when elders walk up to me on the street and they're like, baby, when I see you on TV, I'll be like, there she go. Keep going, girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I do. Yep.
That keeps me motivated. When little girls especially tell me like, oh, I did my school report on you. I'm like, I was a little black girl once who people told what I was and wasn't going to be. So, so I love that. But I'm going to tell you in real life, my favorite, street dudes motivate me. I'm telling you, I'm sitting at a red light, a truck pull up beside me at Emerson and Pulaski. They roll the windows down, weed smoke come blowing all out, all over the car. And somebody like, yo, is that the C-Spire bitch? And somebody was like, yo, don't call her a bitch, yo, that's disrespectful. And they was like, no, yo, I'm sorry, but I think that's her. And then somebody was like, yo, that's not her. And I was like, yeah, it's me. I'm the C-Spire bitch. Then they was like, yo, I told you that was her. Shorty, we need you out here. Shorty, keep doing what you doing. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, just pouring all the life into me. And so for the inappropriate t-shirt party this year, I definitely got a t-shirt that said the C-Spire bitch on the front of it. Because
I love you.
I get it. You know what I'm saying? And that happened 2 years ago. Things like that from street dudes happen to me often, but that's like the, like if I could,
I understand.
like it's the epitome of it, like that kind of, because that's the very demographic that people don't believe in, and don't listen to us and don't care what we're out here doing. So when street dudes pull me up and be like, shorty, come here, let me tell you something about how I need you to stay out here in these streets riding with us, it's everything to me. It's everything.
Rashad, I got to ask you not only what motivates you, but we've got an audience out here. What is it that people can do to support you?
Ooh, that's a loaded question. Oh man, so what motivates? All
right, not too loaded, Rashad.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to give like three pointers. What motivates me is seeing, labor in the soil and seeing the fruits of the labor that we planted years ago. Speaking to a young person and seeing how they've grown in their own light, or changing the mindset of adult partner or a community leader and how they go about their own work. My most recent one, I'm out with the park with my son, and I spoke at a conference, and one of the young men that was a part of this program with Eric Jameson, his grandmother was at the park, right? And she said, "You're Rashad Staton." I'm like, yes. And she said, "I remember your speech that you gave to my grandson, and I just want to say thank you. And I've been following you ever since then." Right. So that connection and that relationship and restoring hope in the elders, and me being a conduit between the younger generation, myself, and the elders shows the validity of intentionality, one that I want to encourage. And the other one is seeing the manifestation of our young people carrying their own light. When we first did our first Youth Up Next event at City Schools, we hosted our first event at Impact Hub, right? And we understood that Impact Hub was one of the first, and supposedly in the incubator spaces in Baltimore, and it was white owned, but they wanted to create a space that was supposed to be receptive to Black folks, right? So us to do that and to put it at Impact Hub and to have it, and I get on a conference, I get on a planning meeting just last week. And one of the young ladies who was our student leader that helped us build Youth Up Next, because it was youth led, and they were helping us build this. They created the logo. They helped us create the tagline. They were a part in moderating the performances and tapping on their friends and showcasing their different talents. But nonetheless, this young lady that helped us build this initiative, she is now a social entrepreneur and has her own office space in Impact Hub. And she said, "Without you, Mr. Rashad, I wouldn't have known I was able to be in that space. And ever since then, I went back and said, I belong here." And that right there made me literally jump out of my seat and look at my colleagues and say, this is the impact we want. And this is not going to show up on a report card, but this is going to show up in their report card of life. Right. And this is one that a funder would not ask what's the outcome, but the outcome is to this young lady now becoming a part of Black women being leading small businesses. her being an entrepreneur, her being first generational business owner, her going to college. That's the impact that keeps me motivated. So to see those connections and what people can do is get out of the way. Simple as that. Get out of the way, relinquish your seat. It's no way you all should be dying from your chairman positions, right? Build someone else up. Be willing to remove this gatekeeper mentality. And that's what hinders Baltimore from not being as progressive as we are. Write the check and get out the way and allow these young people to build and make mistakes because they got years to clean it up, just as you have done in your 30 plus years of supposedly service.
Brittany, I saw your head going back and forth. So, and I want you, and I would not to put the pressure on you, but the point that you made, you were so eloquent in explaining what is it that people can do to really show support. So I would love for you to take it away. What say you, Ms. Young?
I'm gonna switch it not from just be 360, because I think I talked about it in the video. I think just as people in this space, again, it's that humanity. Like, just treat us like everyday people. When you see me and I say I'm tired, listen to what I said so you don't get cursed out. But also,
people like that Brittany, she is the sweetest heart. She's saying all this, she's a teddy bear. Go ahead.
My grandmother would never say I'm sweet, so that's funny. But no, it's really just, just people be mindful. Again, we do the work because we love it, and the love is what keeps pouring into us, and we just need more people to love on us, right? So I know I'm a person that often does not tell people what I need. Just ask, just ask what I need as a person. Just say, Brittany, are you okay? And if I say no, just also receive it. So that's what I just want for people, is just to be able to exist, to be free, to be myself, to be able to curse, to be able to not laugh, to be able to have a hard face, and people just accept me for myself.
With that, I received my 2-minute warning because I'm really, let me take a step back. Not only do I thank each one of you for being a part of this initiative, I thank you for just being the people that you are. You're extremely busy, you're extremely tired, but y'all continue to show up. And what's happening is that y'all are creating a generation of folks. You've created a blueprint. And that's what your responsibility is. It's supposed to, lead a blueprint, let people like Rashad, like you said, get out of the way and let them take it the rest. So with that being said, I am turning back to our audience and saying again, don't forget to subscribe to Fearless Sports because this is what you're going to get. This is supposed to be an honest conversation where we really do start to form our own tribe so that the impact, the small incremental wins, as Jonathan says, starts to build into these huge mountains. So again, don't forget to subscribe. The link is in the chat. The first 5 people to subscribe will win some Fearless Sports swag. The winners are going to be announced next week, September 24th. Erica, we're doing a Fearless Friday live at 5:00. More information to come for that. Thank y'all for spending this time with us this evening. We are about to unveil our Become Fearless site. I want you to please keep up to date with this because we're going to be adding more heroes information as the weeks go on. With that being said, be fearless. Peace.
Know that the ride or die. I keep boys by my seat. Know that the ride or die. I keep boys by my ride or die. I keep boys.